To whoever may need this nugget of encouragement, things will be alright, so quit your worrying. I get it, the odds seem stacked back against the wall, but even consider it such, no, you'll stand tall. Sat and watched from the sidelines one too many times. Wicked games to play make me wanna lose my mind. Found solitude knowing it'll be over soon. Ever need a boost, count on me for the 1-2. Trouble don't last when the tough get going. Baby, all we do is win, so show me my opponent.
What's going on, everybody? It's another episode of Run With It podcast, and it's a very special episode because it's the second recording of the Related Debate.
Related Debate.
Yes, indeed, Related Debate. Related Debate is a segment that's put on by Love Nation, a nonprofit, and they've kind of tasked us with tackling the question of why are folks of today kind of running away from marriage. So that's what we're here to discuss, but we're going to get to that a little bit.
So again, I appreciate you guys for coming because you guys didn't have to spend your time here with us tonight. Mm-hmm. So quickly, I want to do a quick little introduction. So we'll start with you and just give us your name, where you from.
My name is Tiffany. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio.
And what do you do, Tiffany?
I'm an exotic dancer, but I'm also an entrepreneur. I use my funds from exotic dancing to invest in my business ventures.
Okay. I feel you.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
You want to speak on that real quick? What kind of business ventures are you on?
I have a podcast. I have merch. I also sell rolling trays accessories. I mean, like weed accessories. So like rolling trays, grinders, lighters.
Yeah.
I do customizations on that, like whole set, stuff like that.
You're not playing around.
Yeah.
I like that.
So what's the brand called?
Nasty Closet.
Nasty Closet.
Nasty Closet. Shout out to Nasty Closet.
Shout out to Nasty Closet.
Shout out to Nasty Closet.
Yes, indeed.
And we'll move on next.
Hi, I am Bree Madison, and I'm from Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, that's what's up.
The Ohio State University.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Buckeyes.
Shout out to them Buckeyes.
Shout out to them Buckeyes.
So, Bree, what do you do?
By day, I am a technical project engineer for a software company. The rest of my day is really spent as a founder of a social club for Black women here in Arizona called Coco Click. And I have my own graphic and web design business and branding and marketing. So called In Faith Creative Studio.
Well, they be saying period. Period.
I'll let you slide for saying that today. I'll let you slide. But that's good, though. You're doing all right.
Yeah, thank you.
Man,
she handling business.
Busy.
Handling business for real.
Yeah. Okay, and we move on down.
All right. My name is Rachel McGee. I'm licensed as a broker, real estate broker, but I am a realtor here in residential, commercial, and I also am a coach for social media content. And did I ever say I was from Grand Rapids, Michigan?
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Michigan. Yeah.
Michigan, huh? Buckeyes.
Yeah.
We graduated from Ohio State, so that's why we have to.
right around the
bleed
Oh,
corner.
there's a lot of Ohioans in here. I found my people. I was like, where they at in Arizona?
We right here.
Well, I ain't from Ohio. I just went there. I'm from Mississippi. Let's
okay.
Let's just put that out there, But
So, what is your current relation status, and are you even interested in getting married later on down the line? And we can start with whoever wants to go first.
yeah, who got something for
Who got something to say for us?
I feel like what I gotta say is gonna go against everybody's societal norms.
Okay.
I mean, go ahead and lay it
I
out
grew
there.
up in a 2-parent household. My parents been married for 26 years.
Shout out
But I look up to their marriage and I do want to get married one day, but I am a bisexual woman.
Mm.
So marriage to me, it's not going to be a traditional marriage.
Okay.
So yeah, for me, for it to work, I have to be able to get what I want type thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you say get what you want, do you mean you want to be able to explore at some point?
No, I always said I wanted a wife and a husband, so I'm dipping and dabbling in poly right now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Got you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're not against marriage.
Not at all.
It's got to make sense for
Yeah,
what
for
you-
me, I need
what you
somebody who
desire.
has the same, goals and, trajectory to marriage as I do.
Right.
I think people will be surprised at how common that actually is now and today.
Mhm.
Mhm.
You know, a lot of people are moving away from traditional marriage and are more interested in, poly relationships
That's true.
and such. Yeah. So that's interesting.
That is. What about you?
Similar in terms of I grew up in a 2-parent household. My parents are still married. My parents are high school sweethearts.
Okay.
Yeah,
Special.
my parents have been knowing each other since middle school.
Mhm.
So I love love. So I do believe in marriage. I do want to get married one day. I'm currently single I think you asked our current relationship status.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
I'm currently single. I wouldn't say I'm in my dating season right now. I think I'm on my grind right now.
Oh, you focused?
So yeah, I'm focused and I'm letting God really lead what, my next chapter will be. So, but yeah, I do believe in marriage. I do want to get married one day. I love love.
Yeah.
So.
It's very important what you said. You said letting God lead where you at, because when you focus, like you getting the best version of yourself out there to then attract what you really need, not where you are in that current state of being. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So I feel that a lot.
Yeah. I feel like when I've made decisions before in the past years, like without God, relationships or professionally, it's gone wrong, So I'm trying to slow it down and hear where I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to be doing next. So that's why I say I'm not sure if I'm in my dating season right now, but we'll see. So
yeah,
I sort of want to touch on something you said real quick. So for you said you're not in your dating season, you're more so in your grind. Do you feel like that's something that you can marry together? Do you feel like you can grind as hard as you are right now and still focus on a relationship, or is it one or the other?
No,
at this point?
absolutely. I think part of my grind season right now is also like a part of like my self-love. I think a lot of times, and this is a whole different topic, but I feel like a lot of times people talk about self-love, they think about like dating yourself or self-care and like bubble baths and wine nights, but also like loving yourself is putting your all into whatever it is that you want to be or who you want to be in this world.
Yeah.
So I'm loving on myself with like who I want to be career-wise, who I want to be as a woman, because if I want to show up as a wife or a mom one day, I want to make sure that I'm my best self individually. So I think they can be merged. I think absolutely. I think I can be all that who I want to be and be a wife. But I think I want to take the proper steps to be there
For sure.
and make sure that I'm self-fulfilled in all my areas before I then start to bring other people and other chapters in when I haven't fully committed to myself before. So, yeah.
That's you. That's a great answer.
That's a good answer.
That's a good answer right
That's
now.
a good answer. I feel the same.
Y'all are funny.
Oh my God. She took the word.
They be saying that on Family Feud. Good answer. Good answer.
Good answer. For real.
Oh man.
I feel like I'm running for president. Like,
I mean, you putting out a good campaign right now.
Right, I'm
I
like,
understand
I feel
where
like
you're
y'all are
coming
campaigning
from.
me.
Yeah, she got my vote.
On everything,
Screaming.
because I can relate to what you said, for real. But Rachel, what about you?
Just to piggyback, I love that answer because when you're your best self, you attract positive and better people too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like that. So for me, I grew up with a single mother. However, my grandparents and my great grandparents were married for 65, and then my great grandparents for 75 years. They were married at 15 and back in the day when they could
Wow.
do that. So I totally believe in marriage. I was married. I was married for 10 years. We were together for 13 and divorced, and single for a couple years. And I was kind of in like what she said, just focusing on me, my career, my life, and just learning to live on my own because I was married at a really young age, and just kind of who I am and what I want to do when I don't have any other influence. I'm currently in a relationship now, have been for about a year. So that's been good.
I wanted to shoot my shot. I'm just kidding. I'm playing.
Shit with her
That's right. But you know what? The thing about relationships is, I hate to say this, they don't always last forever. I really do believe in when their time is up, and you can outgrow a thing. I do date to marry, so that's my goal. That's my intention. If I don't see the person as my husband, then I move on. So if I don't see that within that year, then if I do see like, hey, he's not my husband, I will move on. I've dated someone for a couple months, and I was like, nah, I'm good. We don't align. So yeah, but I believe in marriage. I want to be married again, and hopefully whoever that is going to be my forever person.
I never said my relationship status. So I am currently single. I just got out of a relationship that I was in for 7 years.
Wow.
Okay.
I met him when I was 19. He was 15 years older than me. We ended up having a kid together. I just, like she said, sometimes you outgrow people. I was very young when I met him, so I feel like 19 to where I am now, big drastic change. My mindset is different. And yeah, that's probably why I'm single right now. So I'm just like exploring myself.
Yeah, it's interesting. A key thing that all of you guys said is you're really just trying to figure yourself out, right, and know who you are as a woman. So it's very interesting. I like that a lot, because even for me, it took a good amount of time for me to figure out who I am as a man, right? So I can resonate with what you guys are dealing with, because even for me, I didn't have anyone to guide me. I just sort of had to figure it out on my own.
Yeah.
But we don't have any grace as a man. You just got to figure it out.
You gotta figure
And
it
then
out.
when I
Gotta figure it out.
met Kayla, you know, I really had to figure it out because she looking at me.
Time
So,
ticking.
yeah.
Time
Like,
is
get it
ticking.
She looking
together,
at
My
me,
girl don't
Yeah.
play.
and I
my
wanted to
girl
keep
don't
that.
play.
So, you know, I had to figure it out.
Yeah,
I
get
think
it
as
together.
women too, we kind of can fall in a man's shadow and whatever their desires and what they want, and you kind of just go with the flow. At least I did, and so figuring yourself out. It's like after every relationship, you almost have to do that again.
Yeah.
Because you got to be like, all right,
Yes.
let me get back grounded with who I am. What do I like? What do I want to do? How do I feel good? What's my best? So I think that's kind of where that I got to figure myself out
Yeah.
part comes from.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
losing yourself in a relationship is very easy to do. Like you
Mhm.
become all about that person, forget about yourself.
Yeah, you can, especially when you compromise a lot.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, how do you think you prevent doing all that compromise? Is it the level of maturity you are before you enter the relationship? Because I say it like that because like where all of you are now, and I feel like all of us, we are close to knowing ourselves. It's way more than we used to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we get into a relationship now, I mean, the compromise is less because we
Yeah.
know who we are and we know what we want. So do
Absolutely.
you think it's the maturity of knowing who you are that prevents that, or what do y'all think?
I think now that I'm older, my compromise versus collaborate, like instead of letting myself go and doing what this person wants, is versus how can we come together and do the thing together.
Mm.
So I think that with age has been more of my aim, like collaborating versus compromising and giving up, me.
Yeah.
I feel like now in the day and age we live in now, I feel like people are way more selfish. It could be a good thing or a bad thing, but people are way more selfish. Back then, like she said, high school sweethearts and stuff like that, it was more common to just get out of high school, have a baby, get married. It's not that common now. Everybody's thinking about themselves and what they want. They're not thinking about
sure.
more of a family unit, because they've seen a family unit from their grandparents, from their parents. So that's just normal to them to just jump it head first in and not even thinking about what they want out of life. It's just family, career, kids.
So what do you think is driving the selfishness now? Since that's not the norm of how it used to
Social
be.
media.
Social media.
Yeah.
I was hoping that was y'all answer.
Yeah.
The morals and like the things my grandparents taught me are they're non-existent in
Not the
this
same
day and
no
age. It's
more.
like back in the day, my grandma used to tell me all the time, don't leave your husband. You're never going to make as much money as him. I'm like, excuse me? Like that was just my push. What do you mean? Just because you were a housewife and grandpa was out on the railroad, like that doesn't mean that that's the life that I'm going to live. Doesn't mean that. And I'm okay with if I never make as much money as my husband, but that doesn't mean that's my normal. Why I need to stay married to a man. So yeah, like things have changed, and influence is huge.
So do you guys feel that social media affects relationships more so negatively or positively right now?
Both.
Yeah.
Both. It does give you a sense of like, okay, I have more to offer than just this relationship. Like if this girl can do it or if this guy can do it, I can do it. And it's also negative too, because people think they have options that they don't really have. They think that they got all the options in the world when really you don't. People just be liking to play and waste people's time.
Yeah.
That one sounds personal.
Low-key.
You look at the camera now, she looking at someone.
I agree in a way. I think for women, social media has definitely influenced, like you see a lot more different women. For women, I think it's a little different because a lot of people, like society has taught us to operate our life on our maternal clock.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, get a career, settle down, because at one point you're not going to be able to have kids. So like, I feel like in a way, society has always taught women to operate in terms of like a maternal clock. Versus now you see on social media, there are women who are choosing to spend their 20s and their 30s building their success, being happy, and you can still have a kid in your 30s. I think there was always like this pressure to have a kid by 25. And it's like, why? You could still have a kid in your 30s. Like what stops you from doing that at 32, 33 and taking your time? So I think when I see social media, and as somebody who also like does content and creating, and like, you see different girls, you see a lot of older girls in their 30s or that are building these lifestyles. So there's no need for this rush. And it's like, I feel so behind, but it's like, well, this girl's also, single or whatever. And she's not married. She's extremely successful. And I admire what she's doing. So I think I can't speak from like a man's perspective, but I would say from the social aspect of what the role plays for women, I think it does contribute in a positive way on like slowing down and taking time to know yourself. But I think it does have also this negative aspect of, you know, your partner needs to make 500K and I'm not
Get a
accepting
bag
nothing
culture.
less. And they
Get a
need to
bag
be doing
culture,
this.
yeah.
Yeah, like this get a bag culture. And
Mhm.
like the first date needs to be $500 or we need to be going to Dubai on the first date. And it's like, what is going on? You know?
Right.
And I come from like a very traditional family. And like in terms of like, my parents grinded out together. My parents have been self-employed together. They own
Mhm.
3 businesses together. So
Mhm.
like, and now they're pretty much just like living and traveling the world together. So like this whole like everybody needs to have it all together in the beginning to me is so realistic, like unrealistic, because if you look in the mirror and look at yourself and see like there's so much I can improve on, it's like
Mhm.
how, and like you were saying, like you kind of attract what you are. So it's like it's insane to be thinking that if you, and it's no shade, but if you're making like $20 an hour, that you're going to attract someone that's making 500K,
Mhm.
like and have that sort of like
Mhm.
stable relationship. So I think
Yeah,
also like
yeah.
society for some reason has like, I think women should hold themselves to a higher standard, but I think that like in a way society has pushed it to where like you have these rappers and all these other people and these now these social media, you know, girls are showing this limelight of like,
Mhm.
you can have this and do this, but you're not seeing the dark side. You're not seeing the other side of a lot that
Seeing the limelight.
happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just not realistic for everyone.
They might be dating a
or for what
millionaire,
you
but they
want.
might be in Dubai getting
Yeah, you know, it
Yeah.
depends on
Things
what your
happening to
values
them.
Yeah,
are.
for
Yeah,
sure.
and what
Yeah.
you really actually want to attract. So I think it's both. I think it's also important not to overconsume anything. I think it's also just important to think for yourself.
Yeah.
Like and decide what do you want truly out of life. And when you look up 10 or 20 years from now, what are those foundations that you want to have? Not the materials, not what you can post on social media. Like when you come home behind closed doors, what does your life look like? So I think, but I agree with you. I think social media is in both ways.
Good and
But
bad.
as a girl who doesn't have like me myself, I don't have sisters. I don't have like female cousins my age. I grew up around all boys. So the world of like when YouTube was like coming up and girls were being YouTubers, like that was my influence to me of like these boss girls. Like of course my mom, but you know what I mean? Like seeing other boss girls like doing their thing. And I was like, I loved it. I love that there was no rush on figuring out who you are or rushing to like settle down. Like you said, you can be selfish. You could take time to figure out who you are, not rush and get married and have kids. So it's about balance on the amount of like information you're consuming online. Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, part of social media isn't real.
100%.
Yeah.
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 I think there's a huge emphasis on that. It's not real. A lot of it's not real. It's all a facade for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Y'all said some good points though about it being a little bit of both. I don't know. Sometimes I tend to think it just really leans on the negative side
For sure.
because yes, social media shows you the options you have, the potential life you might have, but it ain't even showing you what comes with that life. You know what I mean? Like you ain't even the type of person that can even handle that life. You know what I'm being with that type of person. You know what I mean? Or being
for
that type of
sure.
person that have these
Yes.
people with you. It's
Trust
just like,
me, I know. There's tons
know?
of girls that be reaching out to me and be like, "Oh my gosh, how?" Like young girls be, "How did I get into dancing?" I'm like, "This ain't what you want, baby. This ain't what you want. I did it on accident. It wasn't on purpose."
yeah. But I mean, that's cool that you keeping it real with them.
For sure.
Because if you look at social media, it's
They
really
glorify
just
it.
glorifying a certain way.
Yeah.
And people end up years down the road really sad about their life. You know what I'm saying? So,
True.
yeah.
And it's nice that you're using it too as a tool to benefit you in entrepreneurship
Yeah,
endeavors
this is my
too. So that's
retirement
huge.
plan.
Yeah.
I can't be in a club at 50.
Yeah.
That's real. That's real. You got it planned out. For real.
That's funny.
But one of the questions we had in the intro before we go into the actual segments on the podcast was like, how do you think your upbringing affected your view on marriage? But it seemed like y'all still have positive views on marriage.
For sure,
Which
yeah.
is nice to see. A lot of folks got very negative, ill views towards marriage. So, you know, even though y'all going about it y'all own way, y'all still see it in a positive light.
Marriage is beautiful. It's beautiful when it's with the right person for the right reasons. Because some, you know, I have sisters. I have a lot of, like you say, you got all brothers. I got all sisters, and we all by different daddies.
Okay.
So, I got one brother too. So my mom got 4 baby daddies and 7 kids. So, my sister, her grandmother told her, marry for marry for love first, marry for money first, then love.
Mm.
That's what she told her.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, I know certain people nowadays agree with that, get the bag type culture, but
Right.
I don't agree with that. I don't. Because why would you want to be in a loveless marriage?
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like all the money in the world is not worth being in a loveless marriage, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, I can agree with you on that for sure.
Yeah. It wouldn't last.
It's
There's
not.
no way. Yeah.
If you
Money will come
marrying
and
for
go.
love, you just literally marrying to get divorced just so you could take half.
Yeah.
If you
Money
go
will come,
with
money will
yeah,
come and
yeah.
go for sure. And I feel like looking at potential is a big up too. Because we're all young. We all just came out of college. We didn't have anything to us, but I saw the potential in her. She saw the potential in me, vice versa. The people that you reach out to, that you're dating, you got to see the potential, and the love will come and the money will come as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know.
All right. All right, brother.
Yeah.
So
Wait, and how old are you?
Well, 30.
Oh my gosh, I love young love. That's great.
Yeah, I'm
That's
30.
great.
how old you thought he was?
27.
Okay. Boy still got his youth. That's good. I thought you were gonna
Black
say,
don't crack.
right. I thought you were gonna say 45. But
Whoa, what?
He still got his hair.
You got that in there?
Still got his hair.
I just didn't know. I didn't know what you was gonna say. That's all.
You asked the wrong person. She might say it's thinning.
Oh, don't say that. They're gonna be zooming in on the camera.
Right.
No, it still look good. No spray either.
Ooh.
Right. No spray.
Shade. I'm just kidding.
I ain't got no spray on.
All right. So for the first segment, we have word toss. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna read a question to you guys. So for example, what's the best word that describes a healthy relationship? I'll count down from 5, and we'll all say a word, right? And then we'll go around and speak about that word and why you.
And y'all
decided
better
to
edit that
toss
time I
word out
spit.
there,
Yeah.
right? So
Y'all gonna say the same word. I
don't
know
about-
it.
I don't know about that.
Okay.
We're gonna see. We might be very different.
So we can start with the example I said. So what
Okay.
word best describes a healthy relationship? Right. So I'll count down from 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Communication.
We sure did say that.
Wait, somebody said something different though.
I think we all say something different.
Yeah. What'd you say?
I said agreement.
Agreement. Why agreement?
I just feel like because it comes with compatibility, but I think that you kind of have to be on the same page, and that can allow things to work. If you're not, there's going to be conflicts.
Yeah.
From the beginning, it'd be turmoil. You
Yeah.
have to.
I'm
You
sure.
have to
You
be
have to be in
agreeable. Yeah,
agreement.
that's a really good
Plus,
point.
TD Jake says you have to be in agreement. So,
Okay. Okay, TD Jakes.
yeah, and I'm so with that.
Praise
Makes so much
Jesus.
sense.
All right.
Okay. Bree, what did you say?
I said forgiveness.
Forgiveness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why forgiveness?
Yeah, I said forgiveness. And one thing, like similar to what you said, it's biblical, but also I think obviously not when your boundaries been crossed and you've been absolutely taken advantage of and there's, they've crossed lines. But in small areas, I think a lot of times that people don't realize that they hold on to things, hold on to weight, hold on to anger, hold on to certain emotions and actually don't work through them.
Yep.
And sometimes it's forgiving yourself, sometimes forgiving them. But I think truly it's forgiveness. I think forgiveness is probably a big thing that, in my opinion, that makes relationships work is you're not the same person. And so they're going to disagree with you. You guys aren't going to always be aligned. That person's going to make mistakes that for you may have truly impacted your day or your week or your month or however it is. But if it's not detrimental to your relationship, like forgiveness, I think people talk a lot about, loving until the end and communicating and things like that. And that's all great in terms of a healthy relationship. But nobody talks a lot about how truly forgiving and getting past. Because if you're going to be there, if you're going to accept their ways or their mistakes or what happened, you have to truly forgive.
Right.
Not say, I'm sorry and it's okay or I forgive you, but sit with it, have worked through it. Forgiveness can be a process. It could be therapy. This is us working through forgiveness. It could be practices of trust again. It could be actions in terms of forgiving. And I think sometimes we just keep forgiveness as, well, I said I'm sorry and you said you forgave me. And it's but they don't practice what it means to actually work through whatever it is they're being forgiven for. And sometimes forgiving yourself. I was in a previous relationship where I had a partner who made a lot of mistakes and the relationship ended, obviously, but there was still I felt like this attachment to it I had to the relationship. And it wasn't until I went to therapy and I was like, I gotta get up out of this, like, like mentally, emotionally. And I had learned that I hadn't forgiven myself for like accepting the mistakes or like not fully working through them at the time. Hadn't forgiven 24-year-old me for what I felt like was love and I was going through, or I hadn't just truly forgiven the mistakes that they made because I wasn't sure what forgiveness looks like.
Right.
So yeah, to me, I think it's a big part of it is forgiveness. I think it's one of the ones that people don't talk about a lot.
Do you
Yeah.
think do you think it's common that people know how to forgive their partner, or do you think that's an uncommon
No.
thing?
I don't think it's common that people truly know how to forgive their partner. Like, people always say like, I forgive, but I never forget. That's not forgiveness. Like you have to truly forgive and let go. Like imagine if you're religious, like imagine you make a mistake and you apologize to God and God's like, I forgive, but I don't forget. Like you get to the gates.
Yeah.
It's going to be rough for you if God don't ever forget. You know what I mean? Like if he doesn't
That's true.
actually choose to wipe away your sins and wipe away the mistakes that you've made. So if you feel like you can go to God and say, forgive me for what I have done, and you expect him to forget it and let you move forward in a clean slate, improve yourself, why can't you do that with another person who's just as human as you are, who has at one point who probably you've made similar mistakes as them? So I don't think people truly do it enough. Because I think it's a practice more than it is just a word of like, I forgive you. I think it's truly an action to whatever you have to do to get through forgiving them. Whether that is space and say, hey, we need a little time apart because this is my process to forgiving you. Or, hey, this is the steps, like we need to go to therapy because I'm going to need this to forgive you. I think it's more an action than it is a word. So I don't think a lot of people really practice it enough.
Man, you really explained that better than I wanted you to. And I say that because like I can forgive,
Yeah.
but I do think that's something I might struggle with at times because I don't think I think forgiving is essential, but I don't forget nothing. You see what I'm saying? And I don't forget nothing because it's like once something is taking place, you show me what you're capable of. I'll never know what you were capable of because I'm not you. You don't even know what you're capable of because only God truly knows you. So, but if you show me something that's tangible and I can understand, I can forgive it one day, but I don't want to forget it. But how you explain that about like, well, if God can do this, that was powerful.
Yeah.
Can't say I agree all the way right now.
Yeah.
But it was powerful.
And I'm not saying be a fool, but I feel like if somebody also shows you a side of them that makes you fearful of, wow, I know what you're capable of, then I think there's a lack of trust there as well. Like then I think there's a different step on like what need to be worked on because you haven't forgiven, again, because it's affected how you now think about them, how you may choose to interact with them, how much you allow yourself to be vulnerable with them in spaces. So you're not truly forgiving them because it's still affecting how you choose to interact with them. Right. Like again, I think people truly just see forgiveness as like, oh, I've chosen to love you through it or whatever. And versus like, I've chosen to truly get past it and not let it affect how we come together, how we continue as one, how we have this companionship. So I'm not saying forget and be a fool, but if it's at a point to where it's questioning you and your ability to trust your gut, then again, forgiveness may mean space. It may mean walking away for a while because that's your action to getting through to forgiveness. And if you can come back and say, I've worked through it. I've gotten through it. I'm good. It's not going to affect if somebody cheats on you and it's like every time they out the house and out of your space, are you worrying? Are they cheating? Are you checking their phone? You haven't forgiven them because you're still concerned about what they're doing when you're not in their, in arm's reach, or if you don't have access to being able to know all they have going on. Right. So space may be required for you to work through that or decide that it's not for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Mine was communication, and I believe communication is key. I feel like agreement and what was yours?
Forgiveness.
Agreement and forgiveness, it goes hand in hand with communication. Yeah. Because I feel like if you communicate with somebody, you really know a lot about somebody when you communicate. I'm a Gemini, so we are we like to talk things through. We don't hold things inside. We wear our heart on our sleeves. I feel like if you communicate in the beginning, it won't be no problems in the end. I make sure I tell every person I date, I'm a dancer, I'm bisexual, because it might be deal breakers for somebody else, but it might be like, okay, that's fine for another person. So I feel like in the beginning when you communicate, there won't be a bumpy road in your journey with somebody. And also when you're in your journey with somebody and you communicate things when it happens, then it won't fluster and it won't blow up.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's big. I agree with you. I said communication as well.
So did I.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the biggest thing to me.
Yeah, for me, and this is from previous experience, I was a really bad communicator growing up. And just a lot of people around me, we just never communicated. We never talked things through. And I sort of realized when I would go through relationships and things wouldn't work, I had to look at myself, am I the problem? Right? So when I sat there and I got into my relationship that I'm in now, I told myself that I was going to communicate. I was going to, every time I feel something, when we argue, we're going to talk it out, right? So the biggest thing for me is to be on the same page and make something work. You have to talk it out, whether you're happy, whether you're sad. And that's just what's worked for me. And every time I didn't communicate, it didn't work out. Friendships, relationships, just any type of relationship period, you got to be on the same page with people.
Yeah.
Because she said agreement, and you can communicate with somebody and find out if y'all in the same agreement or not.
For sure.
If you're not in the same agreement after communicating, you need to go.
Yeah.
And if you are communicating, you be like, okay, we can come to a common ground. That's our agreement.
Yeah.
Then, you can move forward.
And that happens more often too. Like people won't agree, but they'll come into that common ground. But if they don't talk it out, they're just going to fall apart.
What is the first word that comes to mind when you hear the word chivalry? The word chivalry.
Do we all say it aloud again?
I'm going to give you a countdown to 5.
Okay.
All right, 5.
Wait, start.
Wait, hold on.
Give
I
us
need a
2
second.
countdowns.
Yeah.
Oh,
Do we need to Google the word chivalry? Does everybody know what it is? Okay.
Yeah. Just need a second to.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
what
I might
it
need a
is.
second too. I'm about to ask the question, not even have the answer.
I know the answer to mine.
All right. Y'all ready?
No, hold on. I don't know why.
Okay, I'm about to put some pressure on you. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Dead.
Protection. Huh? Okay, what did you say?
I said
said
dead
dead.
because chivalry is dead.
Oh, that's why. Threw me off. I heard dead. I don't know what I was thinking.
Chivalry is dead in 2025. That shit gone.
You think so?
Yes,
Why you say that?
because of the world we live in, men they not like yesterday's men.
What you mean?
They don't hold doors no more. They don't.
Now, I look myself in the mirror every day, and I see a chivalrous man. So I'm wondering how come you ain't finding him.
Then I'm just saying, like on my years of dating, I only had 2 men open doors for me. 2.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, men don't open doors no more. Men don't make sure you walk on the inside of the on the sidewalk no more. They don't, they expect all these qualities from women, like, make sure, you cook for me, make sure, you talk to me, you're there for me, you're emotionally supportive of me, but they don't show the chivalry anymore to even receive that type of womanly action that we are naturally supposed to give to you. If you're not giving it to us, why do you expect us to give it to you?
Now, if that's really what's happening with men today, we need to wake up, y'all. I'm just being real, like walking on a certain side of the street, opening the door. You know what I'm saying? I'm Southern. I'm from Mississippi, so like chivalry is, I feel like, a part of any Southern man. Whether you walk that walk,
Oh no,
or you
and
know
it's
it,
crazy
it's a part.
because the 2 men that did do it.
No, they from the South.
Yes, they was.
What state? Shout them out.
I think it was like Arkansas or something like
That's
that.
not Mississippi. Shout out to Arkansas. What was the other state? Just
Mississippi.
Texas.
Texas. That ain't Mississippi either. But shout out to Texas. Well, look, it's like this. What I'm saying, you come from the South, your upbringing is that. Now you might ignore it and get some other influences, but that's what it is. So it'd be surprising to me. It was very surprising to hear that you haven't been experiencing that, to be honest.
Men don't even say yes, ma'am, yes, sir, no more. I love that when a man be like, yes, ma'am, yes, sir, to their elders. They don't even do that no more.
See, I thought that was more of a social media thing. Like I hear a lot of, I see that on social media, a lot of clickbait where men will ask those type of questions. What do you bring to the table and such? And men aren't chivalrous and things like that. But I feel, everybody that I know personally is chivalrous. Everybody that I know personally, but so
and that's why you're married.
That's right. You got a good circle around you, brother. That's what it is.
You know what I mean? So I feel like that's depending on the groups of people that you surround yourself with too.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's a lot of factors that go into it. But I definitely have met a lot of dudes that do that. But I just thought most of us were chivalrous still.
I thought that was just, the norm.
The norm, yeah.
But I guess not.
Not in my world.
I understand. All right. Well, thanks.
For
Y'all
me,
live
I
in different
think
worlds.
for me it's kind of a requirement at this
Yeah.
point. It's I've met a lot of men who aren't, but we don't go past the first day, you
Yeah.
know,
Mhm.
because if I open my own door, if I'm pumping my own gas, if I'm cleaning my own car, and I will say, the man I'm with, I had to kind of teach him some of the things because he did some, but not all, because I know what all looks like and feels like. So I had to be like, hey, like I just cleaned my own car and I'm gonna do it this time, but I'm not doing it again. Like if you're with me, take the vacuum out of my hand. I mean, I pull up to to car cleaning places, and there would be random people like, let me do this for you. You know what I mean? And I'm like, thank you, yes, please. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna do it.
Mhm.
No, I got it. You know, I'm gonna allow that to be a thing because that's what I want to attract again. So I think it's a requirement for me. It's also what I've seen from my grandfathers. Like that's what they did for my grandmother. Again, times are different. Like you had the women who are very submissive. So I feel like it kind of goes hand in hand and with that feel and that energy in the relationship. But at this point in my life, that is a requirement. Like
Yeah.
you have to be a gentleman. And that's what
Mhm.
the easy way I would say it is, you have to be a gentleman. You have to be have a protective spirit. You have to have a put me first kind of thing because I'm going to put you first then also.
Mhm.
So it's kind of you give and then you get, because women, we reciprocate like crazy. So if we're receiving a man who's protective, who's providing, who's making sure that we're good in all aspects, we're going to do the same.
I think that's the reason why I started dating up, because men, I'm 26, men my age, oh my gosh, they act like they're 16 and I cannot do it. I cannot raise you. Okay, I cannot do that. I have a kid. I can't do that. I need a man that already knows what he wants, where he want to go, and knows how to treat a lady. I can't raise a man. I can't do it.
Okay.
Shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had a similar experience in terms of it's definitely a requirement for me. Like I would say, like one of my top love languages is acts of service, and I feel like chivalry goes into acts of services, especially in a small way. But very similar to you, where like I've seen it. Like
Mhm.
I don't think my mom's driven in like 5 years. Like literally got into behind a car unless she absolutely
Love
has
it.
needed to.
Princess
yeah, like
energy.
absolutely. She cannot tell you the price of gas. There's no
Mhm.
idea what it is for her. Even when I go home to Ohio and I go in town, like whether I get a rental car or my parents let me borrow like one of their cars, my dad will make sure it's clean, it's pumped gas. Like
Tank on
he
full
will,
every time.
I mean, like he'll call me and be like, if you need gas, like tell me, I'm gonna come to wherever you at and like pump the gas before you go out later. Like, or he'd be like, I'll tell one of your brothers to do it, and my brothers will automatically do it. My dad gets me flowers every year still for like Valentine's Day. I don't walk on, like my dad will literally move me and my mom away from the sidewalk, opening the doors. Like I've had that in relationships too and people that I date. Like I feel like it's like an automatic for me as well. And I feel like people can almost probably feel that energy because
Mhm.
I don't feel like there's, and I don't mean this in a cocky way, but there's nothing about me that should give that I'm opening my own door. Like that you should not be walking on the outside of the sidewalk. If it's pouring down raining, like you drive to the front and let me out and you still get me out with the umbrella to the door and you go park the car. And if you have to walk in the rain, that's between you and the rain. Like that's, but I've had that, you know what I mean? Like, so I've seen it. And I'm 29 and I typically date people like around my age, but I think I try to like hold myself to where people see that about me and know like you said, I'll cut it off very early if that's not something that you're automatically doing. And of course people can learn things, but if it's not something that I feel like it's in you, like chivalry and self, like your word was selflessness. I didn't say a word. I'll be honest with y'all. I didn't say a word because I couldn't think of a word, but I really like your word, selflessness. It's really truly about like thinking selflessness first. And that's extremely attractive to me to have somebody who thinks selfless. Because like you said, women will naturally pour ourselves into somebody who thinks that way. And we will start being very selfless as well. We naturally are. So we'll want to do more as our instinct is to be natural nurturers. So when we have somebody that's being nurturing to us in their ways, where they can, I think it's a beautiful thing. So I think you're right. There are in areas where it's just dead. Like, I think there are a lot of men who want to be in their own soft man era and all of that.
Zesty.
Their soft life.
Zesty.
I mean, you're right though. And they want their own little princess treatment or whatever they want to call it. And that's
I'm
true.
the catch.
Yeah, they're the catch, and all of that.
I feel like I'm a catch.
I mean, I think I'm a
You may
catch
be
as
a
well.
catch, but
You
being
might
the
be
catch
right,
is
being
a whole
the
different
catch
story.
in the
But you-
relationship.
I
That's
believe
You guys are
very
right though, because
cocky.
I feel like we're both catches. You know what I'm saying? When you're in a
Yeah.
relationship, you should feel like
You
you and your
acknowledge
partner are
that,
both.
but you
Yeah.
shouldn't go into
Yeah.
a relationship being like,
Thinking
I'm
like,
the catch, so she even
yeah, what
lucky
you
to be
gonna do
breathing
to-
my air
yeah.
type thing.
Yeah,
Like,
For real.
absolutely.
I feel you.
but men there's men like that.
So do you
Yeah.
guys think your upbringing shaped what you will deal with in relationships then? Because you guys keep
Yeah.
quoting people
Yeah.
in relationships, grandmothers, family.
Father.
Yeah,
Your
for
father.
sure. The way that I've seen my father be a husband to my
Mhm.
mom, and the way that I've seen him also like treat me in certain ways, it's just instinct that I would want that in a relationship.
So do you
yeah.
think it's the same way for men? The men that are acting like this, do you think that they just maybe didn't have anybody to look up to know how to treat a woman? Do you think that could be an
I
option?
think the generations are
Yeah.
changing, and the further
Mhm.
down you go, like I think I learned a lot of from my grandparents, my great grandparents, but I dated older men for a long time,
Yeah.
40s and 50s. So like,
Mhm.
so the higher I got, the more I was like, I could just sit back and relax. So I was like, this is
Girl,
nice.
that's why I be dating up.
This is nice.
You sure did
I
say
blame
that.
you.
I date up.
Yeah,
I don't
date
think-
up. So
You
I
sure said
think
that.
too, like when I look at their dynamic, it's
Mhm.
like they had their fathers around and their grandfathers and you know those
Mhm.
higher
Traditional
generations.
values.
But
Yeah.
now we have grandfathers that are like 35 years old, you know, and then they were raised by just their mom because they didn't believe in what we believe in. So yeah, I think it's kind of changing as we're the generation.
Trickling
do you
down.
think-
Yeah, for sure.
So do you think the lack of chivalry is because of also the lack of submissiveness men are facing from women as well? And I asked
Yeah.
that, just because like you said,
Yeah,
equal
it goes
exchange.
hand in hand.
If the men ain't grow up knowing how to be a man,
And the
a lot of
girls are
women
taught
ain't
to just
growing
go
up,
get a bag.
go
Then
get a bag and you don't
Yeah.
need a man. Don't nobody know how to treat nobody.
Mhm.
Mhm.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
And
Yeah,
people
yeah.
aren't willing to learn either.
Not at all.
Hmm.
I think that's a big point that you just said. I think it's also being willing to learn, because I've dated somebody before who didn't come from like a 2-parent household and probably didn't
Mhm.
see chivalry a lot around them. But it's like, if that's what you want, again, it's about when you see yourself and who do you want to be as a partner. I think that's where you have to take time as well and willing to learn and say, I want to be a chivalrous man. I want to
Right.
be a chivalrous person. I want to be a
Because
provider.
just
I
because
want
you
to be a
don't
safety.
see it doesn't mean you can't practice it. Like my
Doesn't mean you
son's
can't figure it
father,
out.
my
Yeah.
son's
Right.
father grew up with a non-father household, but he's a great father.
Mm.
Mhm.
So it's about what you want. It's not what you're taught. You can't be a product
sure.
of your circumstances and be like, oh, it's because of this. You don't have to be. You don't have to be a product of your circumstances. You're allowing yourself to be.
Mhm.
Yeah, you get to a certain age where you're kind of responsible for you at this
Mhm.
point.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
Yeah, that's huge.
100%.
That's a good
You
point.
gotta unlearn some things. You gotta figure out some things. Like, it ain't working. You gotta go, figure what am I doing wrong here? And then
Mhm.
just like we study the books and study our degrees, we need to study ourselves and,
sure.
and learn and
Yeah.
teach ourselves.
I always joke and say, like, how people always say, like, oh, or girls like joke and say, like, my hair would be really long right now if my mom didn't perm it when I was 5.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's how some people are living their lives. though. Like,
Yeah.
essentially being like, if this didn't happen to me, like, I would have been here. And it's like,
Right.
you got so much
just
time,
do the
girl.
big
Yeah.
chop,
You're
start
32.
over.
Like,
Do the
you're
big
32.
chop and
Yeah.
start
You
over.
Your hair should be to the floor. Like there's no reason why that one little perm got you messed up. So
Yeah.
I say some
That's
people like
tough.
that's my analogy for people who are just like, using their
Pass as an excuse.
their past as an excuse
Mhm.
forever, of course.
Mhm.
And when in your first earlier years and becoming an adult and being on your own and figuring out life, they will have an effect. But at some point you gotta, like you said, you gotta look in a mirror at yourself and be like, man, I gotta get some stuff together, or this is who
Thanks.
I want to be, and how am I gonna choose to work through that? Because you can't live off of the mistakes of others forever. At some point, it's a hard pill to swallow, but at some point you are accountable for your trauma. You
Right.
are. And you have to decide, are you going to continue to be a victim of it for the rest of your life or grow from it and
Mm.
choose to be your own person?
Man, somebody need to hashtag that. At some point, you are accountable for your trauma.
You are.
Yeah.
Golly, that's important. You cannot keep leaving that baggage there, kicking that can down the road, expecting a different result.
Mm-hmm.
You brought up a really good point earlier in the conversation about therapy too. I think that's a thing that sort of stigmatized in the Black community. Nobody wants to go to
Mhm.
therapy. Nobody wants to talk to a therapist or
Mhm.
communicate with anyone. So I think that's a big thing that we as a community really need to focus more on is therapy.
Yeah, black folks don't like normalized therapy.
Yeah.
Like
I
structured
think
therapy. Like, the
you
barber
don't
shop is
always
therapy
even
for a
have to
lot
go
of
to
men.
therapy.
You
You
know
just
what I'm
need to find somebody who is non-judgmental and that will listen to you and give a very unbiased and open response to you.
Yeah.
But if you have if you're in a family that is very judgmental, then yeah, you need to go seek a therapist because you have nobody to talk to.
Yeah.
But I also
believe
think professional help is important. Sorry, go
Yeah,
ahead.
absolutely. I believe in coaches as well. Like
Yeah.
I have coaches in different areas of my life. So whether it's a coach to help me be a better parent, coach in my relationship, coach in my spiritual world. Like I have different people that I go to
Yeah.
for insight. Like I don't just go to one person for everything because I'm not a person. I don't really care to go to therapy just because of the stigma of like I'm paying somebody to listen to me and give me their professional opinion. You know, I'd rather just deal with people who've been through and know, and I can see the result shining in their life. So I know, okay, well, the direction you're going to give me may lead me to kind of your success and what you've achieved in your parental life or career or something. So I definitely believe in coaches in that regard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's big.
No, it is. Then we need to go to sip to that. We gotta drink some of this wine.
Smoke back up.
For real, because we got on that chivalry hard.
Yeah.
We really could have kept going. You gonna scroll to sip to that some, Taylor?
That's funny.
Let's see. Yeah, that's good. You gonna leave this one?
You see. Ooh. Okay.
I'm ready to sip some.
What does it say?
Oh, we gonna see.
Yeah, you gonna hear it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you. So this segment is called Sip to That, right? So I'm gonna read something off the screen. I'm gonna read a question to you guys, and if you agree to it, take a sip to that. If not, just don't take a drink. Right? So the first question that I have is sip to that if you believe music is a negative opponent for relationships today.
I'm gonna gulp on that.
You don't know?
I believe so, but I don't know. Y'all don't think so?
I believe it can be.
But you don't think it is?
I don't.
For
I mean,
relationship?
it just.
For relationships.
I mean, I definitely hear some of the stuff that's being said, and I'm like, damn, like if I listen to them,
Yeah.
you know. But it can be. I guess I didn't sit because it's like I don't listen to that music. That's
So it doesn't apply to you.
Yeah, that's
Got that.
not conducive to what I want. Like I listen to love music, R&B and country.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to be in love, so I don't want to listen to like fuck the music. You know, I'm not trying to listen to that.
Yeah,
So I say no because I don't put myself in that predicament, and
Okay.
so but I do know that can be a thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I chose not to sip because I agree with you. I feel like it can be a thing. And I have moments where I like a little turn up. I love a good hood jam. But I think it like impacts your character overall than it does directly influence relationships. Like I think again, over consuming too much of anything will of course like just, start to reflect into your life. So I feel like if you are over consuming and listening to that kind of music and they're talking about F this girl or F this dude or whatever and using people for whatever they are, I think that'll play into a lot of parts of your life. And we see that today with a lot of the younger communities. You got the YNs now. And the YNs are like a thing really because of music, So I'm like, I think it first influences just like overall your character and like who you are. And then of course that can play a role into relationships. But I don't know if I necessarily agree it directly reflects into relationships.
I guess when I heard that statement, I was thinking like, how does it affect the dating pool in totality? You know what I'm saying? So even if you don't listen to that every day, you listen to nothing but Cleo Soul, good soulful music every morning. That's me. But I also love some Young Nudie and some more stuff. You see what I'm saying? So I feel like in totality, it affects maybe someone. Say if you talk to somebody, right, and they don't have this refined music taste like you do,
Right.
they're influenced by what you're avoiding. You see what I'm saying? So I guess that's why I sip to it.
I sip to it because I actually have a little bit of a story time. I was talking to somebody and we had a little bit of disagreement, and the first thing he did was go post a Future quote, like the king of toxicness. It's like even if you trying to like be there with that person, date that person, they always, once you have your first little disagreement or your first little argument, here they go posting something a very toxic man has with 8 freaking baby mamas. Like it's just like, so I definitely feel like music influenced the dating pool because people, they be like, why I gotta deal with this when I got other options? He got other options. He said this, he said that. I look up to him. I like him. So why I gotta deal with this and just her BS when I can go say F her and go deal with somebody else?
Yeah.
Like, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with that completely. Like, even for me, I sip to that because I feel like a lot of people now, they look up to a lot of these artists as role models, right? So the Sexy Red, the Futures. So they internalize those lyrics and put those actions out there in the world, and that's how they deal with certain situations.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
I think they're really living the lyrics that these people are putting on, and sometimes these people that are singing the songs don't even really believe those lyrics.
Yeah,
But
they
it's
ain't
the
even
young
living that life.
impressionable minds too,
Yeah.
and that also
Yeah.
goes in with the family structure because
If it
in
ain't
some
fair.
households that's not going.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a good family structure, they're just listening and feeding off the music. The actions aren't getting stopped. So
That's true.
I think it really does play could play a big role into people's relationships and how they treat others.
All right.
For sure.
We had some mixed responses on that one.
Yeah.
I feel like
you got
most
some really good
people
answers.
can like also use like as a coping mechanism.
Mhm.
Like you said, you get into it with your partner or whatever, or even like if you lose your job or something, like you go to music sometimes to try to relate to what you're going through, and it can be a coping mechanism.
That'd be folks therapy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it's
does.
therapy.
It is
Therapy.
people
Don't be
therapy.
posting
They go-
quotes.
Yeah, they do.
But you know what? I realize when I'm listening, so even though I listen to the love and the R&B and then the country, depending on what I'm already feeling,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna take it and twist it
Yeah.
to help
However
you
you want.
in
Yep,
that
yep.
emotion and assist you. Because I'm like, because I can just remember driving and listen to a country song. I was like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, he don't do that for me. So like, I shouldn't take this, you know. But like, because this "Wait in the Truck" song where he's like, he went and killed a man because this other guy put his hands on. I was like, would my man do that for me? Like, would he kill another man? if he
Even
put his
like that
hands on
song
me?
that
So like, it helped my
Yeah.
spirit.
even that song of Miley Cyrus, I could buy myself flowers. Like
oh yeah.
girl, I was like, shoot, I don't need a man. I could write my own name in the sand. I could love me better than you can. Like that was
It's
my anthem for a little minute.
Yeah, she had it on repeat.
I did.
That's funny.
So I got another sip to that for y'all. And we're going to see what y'all's perspective is on this one. So sip to that if you agree that traditional gender roles still have a place in modern dating. Everybody has sip.
Yep.
I mean, you said why you think so, Mr. Married Man. Yeah.
For me, what I picture as a man
Mhm.
is a provider, right? Protector. And I do everything I can to make sure that her working is an option. You know what I'm saying? Anytime I do this shit. You feel me?
I love my girl Kayla. Okay, my girl
Big
Kayla got it
money.
made.
Big money.
But with that, you know, I believe those traditional roles because I also feel like that makes you a better man, right? Because for you to be a man to protect and provide, right, you need to put yourself in better situations. You need to have the security. You have to have the job. So me being that man and wanting to provide that for her, you know, I'm building data centers now. I never would have thought that.
Shout out
Right?
to
If
that.
I didn't have that push,
Yeah.
right? And that's why I feel like a certain woman can make a man better, right?
Mm-hmm.
And those traditional roles help me do it. So
Mhm.
I know I sort of went on a
That's good.
tangent. I went
Oh,
on
that
a
was
tangent,
perfect.
Well, that was
you know,
good.
great.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Inspired me.
Kayla
I'm
wrote
saying.
that down for
She
you.
making
Huh? Make
it
sure you
happen.
said that.
Even
That's
though
what you
I'm
gonna
dipping
say.
into non-traditional way of dating with the poly, I feel like traditional values still, you know, is a thing in that type of life because as a man, what did you do to deserve two women?
Mm.
So you have to be there to make our lives easier for us to even want to be like, okay, we gonna give you this. Because in other countries, when you have wives, you have to be able to take care of your multiple wives if you have more than one wife.
Mhm.
So I'm not finna give that opportunities to somebody unless I feel completely, you know, taken care of,
Yeah.
completely stable, completely secure, and
Yeah.
completely safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not
And
finna just get in a poly relationship with any mojo.
Yeah.
And it still is low key traditional. Like that's been going around a long time. Like I know
The
that.
traditional way of the U.S., I
And
guess.
I feel like
Yeah.
in that type of relationship, the man, I mean, you
he really gotta
have to
step it
be,
up.
like-
Yes.
for sure.
Yeah. So y'all said yes as well.
Yeah, I love the traditional ways. I think that some alterations can be made just because, you know, women aren't doing the traditional thing, because I mean, how far back are we going?
Yeah.
But women can make more money than men, you know,
Mhm.
so women can do a lot of things that men can or are doing, a lot of things that men do. In the house, I do believe that at this point, it's kind of what works for both of you to take the pressure off of each other.
Mhm.
And I think that's where the traditional ways came into play. Like, you know, the mom originally would stay home with the kids and care for the house while the man went out to work. And when he came home, he didn't have to do anything because his labor was there, her labor was home. But I think over time, people realized that the women staying home were actually more stressed because there was so many more duties at home
Yeah.
than there was out in the work field. So I think with that being said, over time, it has changed the traditional ways.
If Trump give us that $75K a year, I'm at home.
Yeah.
I'm
He
screaming.
said he was gonna pay them the stay-at-home wives and mothers $75K a year. I'm
said
at
that?
home. Yes, he did. He said he was going to try to do that. Yeah,
Oh wow, I didn't know you said that.
Mhm.
get into politics.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
have
my
to
taxes
I'm
better
gonna
not
get into
go
it.
up.
I had to fact.
Okay.
Yeah, my taxes better
Right.
not go up.
He said for every household with a husband that go to work and a stay-at-home mom, he will give the mom a $75K check a year
That ain't
for
bad.
being a stay-at-home mom.
I'm about to hit up Trump and see how factual that is. That's interesting.
Go ahead,
I don't
do
know
it.
if I
You gonna
got
hit
a
him up?
I don't know
You
if I
gonna
got a
DM him?
direct line
Trust me,
to
I
him,
know.
but I'm gonna see if I can get to him.
I got a kid.
But that's interesting. I feel like a lot of folks might vote for that right there.
What he say? Make America great again? He wanted to go back to the old days.
There's going to be a
So-
lot of people working under the table and
Yeah,
saying
there's
they
a lot
stay
of
at
folk
home
working
moms.
under the
Okay. All right.
Folks be pocketing money different ways for sure.
Half the world and quit their job. Like, I'm a stay at home mom now.
Okay.
That's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny. Let's take it to related debate, brother.
Yeah. Meat and potatoes.
Yeah, to get to some real questions so we can have a deeper dialogue. You'll scroll for me, Taylor? So, for this segment, we're going to read out a statement, right? It's called related debate. If you relate to it, then you would say relate after I read the statement. If you debate to it, then you would say debate after I read the statement.
We're going around, or we're not doing it at once, right? We're just going to be like relate.
So, I'm going to say the statement. I'm going to give us a count to 3,
Okay.
not
Okay.
5.
Mm.
That's cool?
Yes.
'Cause you needed 15 last time.
Oh, you know what? It's a little different when I gotta,
Oh, okay. Okay, let's see.
I think I can do this. Okay.
So relate and then what? What's the other?
Relate or debate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you don't fool
So it's like
with
an
it,
agree or disagree kind of.
correct.
Got it.
Sure.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, so the first one. Cultural alignment and understanding are both very important to have a successful relationship. Let's say it again because I fumbled the words. Make sure it was clear for me. Cultural alignment and understanding are both very important to have a successful relationship. In 3, 2, 1,
Debate.
debate.
Relate.
Relate.
Debate.
So 3 relates, 2 debates.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
I debated because for me, I relate to it. But I think for people, I don't think everyone relates to having to have cultural alignment or understanding. Like some
Mhm.
people love the fact that we're different and I get to learn about you. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And really being brought into someone's, culture because it's different for them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I appreciate having some commonality for me
Mhm.
personally, but I have seen some people have relationships where they don't fit that. So that's why I debated it.
Mm-hmm.
I say debate because people like my son's father is mixed. He was raised by a white woman. I was raised by a black woman. He don't know when the street lights come on, get your butt inside. He don't know about sugar rice. But it's funny to,
Mhm.
connect. Like when I was dating him, it was funny to, align our upbringings and really talk to each other about how we're going to raise our kid because
Mhm.
you have different values than I do. So I feel like for me, it's a debate because, if you really love somebody and care for somebody,
Mhm.
you're going to come up with your own,
Right.
alignment to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
You don't have to come from the same background or have the same values or have the same religious beliefs. You
Right.
could just come up with your own that works for you.
Yeah, for some people, it make them stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do y'all think?
I said relate because I dated a Nigerian and I thought I could do it. He was a rich man and would have took care of me. But
Mhm.
the more I realized what he believed in, and it was based on his culture and his values and upbringing, I was like, I don't know if I can really
Mhm.
just fall into that. What
Mhm.
your expectations are for me. And so I think, yeah, you have to have some type of alignment. Now, dating outside of your culture or dating someone that's not, I think it could work too. It just, you have to be in alignment with some of the values.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I think you need to be in alignment with some of your values. I think with all that comes through a relationship or marriage or with parenthood, I think at least being aligned culturally within your values at your foundation will make some of those things a bit easier because you're already navigating such a tricky world.
Right.
So I think it matters a bit more than to have to add another layer to what you have to choose to either compromise or collaborate on or whatever, with trying to mesh your values together and not bend too far. I
Mhm.
think I think it does make out of everything else that you will tackle in a relationship or a marriage, being aligned culturally
Yeah.
can be one thing that you can just easily, check off the list. But I agree. I think it can work outside of it. I think it's just a little bit more of a process, especially when we're talking about kids or we're talking about families and
Mhm.
we're talking about expectations at home or work or whatever it may be.
Right.
Gets a little bit more harder. So you're going to, you're just signing up for a little more work
Mhm.
on top of all the other work of a relationship and a marriage. But
Mhm.
Yeah.
I would prefer to check that one off the box in the
Right.
beginning
Yeah.
and,
Yeah. A little less stress in the beginning.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
No, I said relate just because I think being from Toronto is one of the most diverse cities in the world, right? So I've seen a lot of relationships end due to culture differences,
Mhm.
right? So I think there has to be at least that type of alignment, and even don't even get me started on religion, right? So
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
big.
so that's a big thing
Mhm.
too, where people won't even look your way, or as soon as they find out you're a different religion, the relationship will end. So
Right.
I think there has to be some sort of cultural alignment for it to even progress into a relationship and work its way
Mhm.
to a marriage.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad you brought up religion because it brings me to my next related debate. Okay, y'all ready for the next one? Okay. The lack of focus on God is aiding in the demise of modern relationships.
Mm.
In 3,
Ooh.
2,
Can you give me like 6
1.
seconds on that one?
Relate.
Relate. We got 2 relates already. Where you at?
Lack of focus.
Lack of focus on God is aiding the demise.
It's
of
a
modern
demise.
Yeah, it's
That's a very strong
it's a wrong-
word.
Mhm. Yeah, I chose that word. Come on, man. What you think?
I see both sides of it.
Mhm.
I definitely see both sides, but
I'm sorry, I
I'll
can't be
say
in a
debate.
relationship with no atheist or nothing.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
I'll
It's
say
just,
debate.
it ain't gonna work.
You'll say debate?
Yeah.
You'll say, okay. Why do you debate that?
So I agree and disagree, but from my perspective, I wasn't always the most religious person. I just started my
Mhm.
spiritual journey and discovering God, right?
Mhm.
So even before I got on this journey, I understood what you needed to do to have a good relationship. So I don't think you can put it solely on
Mm.
the lack of God being there, because I think I did that without really knowing God. But definitely beforehand, there was a lot of bigger presence, like back
Yeah.
in the day, bigger presence that
Mhm.
you need to traditionally
Mhm.
follow his guideline. I don't know, man. It's
I mean,
a lot. You see where I'm going
I
with
see where you're
it,
going,
but
but let me ask you this: were you seeking Him
before, no.
during
No.
when you were training? Okay, you were learning to how to
I
be.
feel
on
like
that.
Oh, when
if
I was
you-
learning, yes,
Yeah.
I was seeking him.
But you didn't know Him.
I didn't know.
I feel like if I'm dating somebody and they at least know that there is a God,
Mhm.
that we're just not here by happenstance. Even if your relationship ain't the best with Him,
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to get you there, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I
as
feel
long
like-
as you acknowledge that He's there.
Mhm.
Mhm.
That's what she said. The
Yeah.
acknowledgement.
Yeah.
That's why I still said like the focus, the lack of focus is aiding the demise. That's why I said that, because even if it didn't say how good your relationship was. It
Mhm.
said was there a focus there.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't feel the presence all the time, but you still were seeking, even though you didn't feel connected.
Yeah.
Look at where you ended up, happily married man managing data center manufacturing and stuff
Amen.
like that. I mean,
Hey, say that one more time. Hold on.
Yeah,
I'm
you
just
know
playing.
what I'm saying. So I mean, what do y'all feel about that?
I would say relate, but I also say this is a really tough question because everyone's religion is different.
Right.
So I'm not really one to want to, throw my opinion on other people's religion. So if I speak for myself, yes, this is important for me because I grew up traditionally. I grew up with parents who have, the relationship, the foundation of their marriage is rooted in God.
Mm.
So one thing as a kid, my dad always instilled in us is like God is love. So showing love and always showing up in love. So my dad always taught us that, like, showing up in your marriage every day is showing up in love and choosing love. Love is a choice when you're
Right.
married to somebody. You can choose to love them every day. People act like, no, I just can't help it. I love them. No, you could choose to love somebody. Love is a choice. And showing up and practicing love is a choice. And the Bible speaks a lot about showing love every day and showing in love, especially in the New Testament, especially when Christ came, and showing love. So as somebody who grew up in a traditional household of, relationship and life is rooted in love,
Right.
and God is love. As the Bible says, yes, I think that there needs to be somewhat of a focus. I think at the end of the day, like, I used to date somebody, and we always had a rule that, like, no matter what, we prayed before bed together.
Mhm.
Like, no matter how mad we were, if we're not on the same page, like, we gonna get down to pray before we get in this bed. Like, at the end of the day, we make sure that's still a part of our focus.
Mhm.
And it helped. Like, and so, like, unintentionally, like, to get down and to pray with somebody will calm your spirit, like, no matter what y'all are
Yeah.
mad about, if it's not
Mhm.
related in so many different ways.
Mm.
So
How'd you do that? I would be praying like, God, I pray that I don't smack this man in my sleep.
that goes back to my forgiveness, girl. That's a whole other lesson, you know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, so yeah, for me, I would say I personally relate. I think
Mhm.
there does need to be a focus. My brother recently got married about a year ago, and before they got married, my brother's wife, she's never been baptized. And my dad was like, you getting baptized before you come in his family, because you have to just accept, and like you're saying, the acknowledgement of, like, you accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. So that's really was just the act of the acknowledgement. My dad was like, y'all ain't gotta go to church every week or whatever it is, but, like, when you join this family, you have to at least acknowledge God
Right.
as your Lord and Savior, and he's bringing y'all together. So I think in so many different ways, like I said, I don't think it needs to be this whole, like, this, like, these, people say, like, these Bible thumping Christians and all of this, and, like, but there is just this practice of God and your relationship, and acknowledging that love and that forgiveness, and showing up for your person every day, and accepting them as Christ accepts you. So yeah.
Okay. Want to see what you think.
I feel like I've read this question like 20 times on the screen, because I'm just
It's a
trying to
tough
really
question.
I was hoping
formulate,
it was
like,
gonna be tough.
where am I going to focus on? The lack of focus on God is aiding in the demise of modern relationships. So
Mhm.
right now, like the relationships today, and,
Yeah.
and when I think of modern, I always think of cool. I don't know why.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? So, like,
I mean,
I still,
if we all single, or if you're dating now and you're not in marriage, you're
Yeah.
still in a modern relationship. You know what I'm saying? These aren't the relationships of the past. So that's how that question was kind of framed. If
okay.
that gives a little bit more clarity of the direction.
Yeah, well, she mentioned, like, praying together, and I, for me now, because I am a very spiritual person,
Mhm.
not a religious person. Yeah, I think that needs to be kind of the foundation of him too. Overall, I don't know if it's the demise of modern relationships.
Yeah, that's tough. That's
There's
also-
yeah,
that's
'cause I
also
don't
a
know.
lot.
Do
There's
people
a lot
even
that's
believe-
the demise
there's
of
a lot
modern
of demise.
relationships.
There's a lot
God's
of
the
demise.
God is like,
But I feel like
Right
if do people even believe in God these
Yeah,
days? Like, I don't
exactly.
know.
That's
I don't know
yeah.
who all is, like, we see these God memes and and all that, but I don't know how present that is. It's like social media is overweighing God right now. So
Yeah,
for sure.
And social media is overweighing God, and look at the relationships of today.
Right.
yeah, it's
That's
right.
why I kinda
marriages
got
are
with that
failing,
question.
relationships are failing. So I guess I would have to relate, because
Mhm.
yeah, if you're not in agreement, like I said earlier, and spiritually aligned
Mhm.
in a sense where you can be on the same page, because if you're over here praying and he over here like,
Mhm.
and I don't know how that's gonna really
It ain't
work.
really going to jail right.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, and it really just depends too, because like I said, like it depends on your religion. Because if you are somebody that studies the Bible, you read the Bible, then yes, if you were to say it's the demise of modern relationships today, because the way that people, I don't even say
Yeah.
we,
Bible.
but they choose to idolize,
Yeah.
and they choose to make their priorities are against the Bible, or
Right.
against what you would say like the foundations of relationships are, and what you know people choose to, idolize money or materials and things like that, which are all against the practice of the Bible if you're a Christian. So you could say, yes, it would be the demise of relationships if you're studying and looking at religion
Yeah, if
Yeah.
you're
and God in that
religious,
way. Yes.
and
But
yeah, because
yeah.
like she said, I'm spiritual.
Yeah.
So
'Cause
like
you can believe in
I
God.
believe in
Yeah.
the higher power, but I don't know if I necessarily believe in the traditional way of the Bible.
See,
Because I go against a lot of the things in the Bible. I'm a bisexual woman. I make money off of showing off my body. That goes against a lot of the things in the Bible. So,
but that's why I worded it how I did. God.
And
I
you said
didn't
God,
say,
right?
I didn't
Not
say
religion.
who.
yeah, you
Yeah,
didn't
not
say
religion,
religion.
not
You
specific.
said God.
You said
Because I do
spiritual, you
believe in
believe in-
God.
The higher
Correct. So
power.
it's still something. And I don't know any religion or any spiritual teaching that promotes how dating is today. So
Yeah.
that's why I worded
Yeah.
it that way.
True.
Okay.
That's true.
Okay.
That was a good
you
question.
convincing all of us?
I'm
Okay.
Like, my brain hurt a little bit.
I was hoping we was going to get there. We got
That's a
probably
good
time for
topic.
one more related debate before we have to wrap
Before we
things
call
up,
it
brother.
quits?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So for this one, my partner needs to have financial stability for me to consider dating them. Relator debate.
Ooh.
I say
Debate.
Countdown?
debate.
Are we
I
not
say
counting
debate.
Debate.
down?
sorry.
Come on now.
Forgot to count.
Oh, yeah. I was ready for that one.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
Debate.
Debate.
Is that all
Everybody-
across the board?
That was
No, I said relate.
She said relate.
Oh, she ain't playing.
Let me
Why you
read that
relate
again
to
and make
that,
sure
though?
I
And
was
she rolled the neck, too.
Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And consider dating them. Okay.
Yeah, you relate to that.
So you
Why?
relate?
Mm-hmm.
You was the only one that related, right?
Oh, dang. I got to hear y'all's first.
Nah.
Can I say? Can I go? Can I start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
What you
I
got?
say debate because if you ever watched that movie Acrimony, the guy, that girl
Oh,
came
I
in
love
with a
that movie.
whole bunch of money from her mama. The guy didn't come in with nothing from the slums, from the nothing, but he ended up coming off of something. And since she didn't stay down, she ended up losing off of all the millions he had. So I say debate because it really doesn't matter what a man comes in with as long as he got a vision and a plan. You
Okay,
got to
there you
believe
go.
in that
Vision,
man's
plan.
vision
Right there.
and the
Okay.
plan.
Vision plan.
So there has to be a plan with that man, right?
Yeah, because if
Okay.
you come in and saying like, "Oh yeah,
I'm
I'm
just here.
$250,000 in debt and I don't know how to get out," then get away from me. But if you be like, "Oh, I got this plan though, I got this, and I know it's gonna work. Believe in me, babe. I'm gonna be 10 toes down with you if I believe in you." So
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I think I said relate
Mm-hmm.
because I think it's all about your ambition, your drive, and having a plan. And I am really big on that. Like, in order to date me, you have to be ambitious. Like, you have to be driving towards something. Because, like, life today, we know that, like, this economy ain't in nobody's favor unless you're old, white, and rich. Like, just being transparent. So, not everybody can be where you are. Or, and sometimes life, and I have seen people where life circumstances will just sometimes just keep kicking them, and it's just, and they're trying, and sometimes it's just not always that. Now, I think personally for me, like, it would be a preference to me to date somebody, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
have it. But would I necessarily stray away from a person who's a really good person
Mm-hmm.
and is showing up in all the other ways, and maybe
Right.
not financially, but they're striving for it? Like, I can see the work every day. Like, I want to be able to have faith, like, and being a partner and being a wife and being is supporting them as well. So, yeah, I would say especially if we were already dating, and let's say something happened and you fell short or whatever, and you're not financially stable, I'm not going to just leave you because, situations happen, especially if they're out of your control. And even if I meet you and you're maybe not where I am, or even not where necessarily you want to be, if there is a plan, if there is action behind it, if you're driving and you're striving, I can see that. And I respect that, because somebody can have it all today and lose it all tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So meeting somebody and them having it now doesn't necessarily mean that they, they're your matchmaker, or they're the perfect person. It's a matter of being able to have a plan. Do you have ambition behind it? Like I said, my parents are high school sweethearts. So my parents have been through the mud together. And my dad was a drug dealer. My parents met, and then quit. After my mom had my oldest brother, and then they had my second brother. My dad got out. My dad was cutting grass for a living, and then he was like working at Krispy Kreme, and then he decided like I'm gonna start a business. Like, and my mom was just like holding it down through all this.
Right.
And
she's like, how you get from making that, the money, that Jordan money, to working at Krispy Kreme? You gotta believe in your man.
You gotta believe in your. They were living in my grandma's house, and
so do you think there's a timeline of how long?
Yeah. I mean, we gotta be doing something, because here's my thing. Like, I believe in dreams, right? But I also believe in like being a hustler. Like, although like my dad didn't, stop selling drugs and was like, I'm just gonna wait till my entrepreneurship plan pay out. Like, no, he got a job at freaking Krispy Kreme. Like, you gonna still make sure you bringing money, and you gotta do something. Yeah. So that's why I say there's a plan, but there's still that ambition behind it to say, I'm still a provider. Like, I still gotta show up. I still gotta lead this family.
Right.
So I feel like as long as you're trying, like somebody who's just sitting around and just sitting on their plan all day and waiting for this plan to magically happen, that's a whole different story.
You gotta actually be out
But
doing
there's
it.
action behind it. Yeah. So somebody who may not necessarily be financially where they need, I always got myself covered. Now, I would not enter a marriage with somebody who is not financially stable. But would I date, would I get to know somebody who's not financially, I would.
And get them to the point where they are financially stable so you can marry them. Because you don't want to take on their debt.
Right, but I don't know if I'm gonna work you through. That's hold on, I was a whole different thing.
I feel like there's a scale.
That's why I said, if you want $250,000 in debt and you telling me I don't know what to do, but if you $250,000 in debt and be like, I got this going on, I got this going on, I got that going on to get me out of debt, I'm gonna be 10 toes down behind you.
Yeah, but I see a scale here. So you down for whatever. If you believe in the man,
believe in you, I'ma believe in me, I'ma believe in you.
You know what I'm saying?
I need a
timeline. I'm there for you.
Is she gonna be watching?
5-year plan, something.
And then we got Rachel here, who's needed right now. That's what it seems like.
Well, I agree with the ladies. I agree. And I feel like because I feel like women, we will be like, I see this potential and I'm going to help you get there. It's like what you said, like and then you were like, okay, you can be here, but you ain't going to sit here. So, and I get both of their aspects. So I was there as far as my ex-husband. We didn't have much when we got together. I had way more than him, and he was not financially stable when I was also 18 years old, 19 years old. And so that was cool at that time in my life where, okay, we're going to build and we're going to get this. And now he's a millionaire and we're divorced. But at this point where I'm at in my life, I kind of believe in like the equally yoked. Yeah. And so the stable part of it is where I desire to be. That's why I work so hard. So I've had a man who came in and was not where I was financially. He was not stable. He made money, but he made big amounts of money here. And then for months there was nothing. And it was like, we have to struggle now, or now I have to pick up. We're not married. I'm not going through that. I work too hard. I feel like I work too hard now. I want somebody who's stable, because that shows me their past habits, their routine, their drive. So that's showing me like who they are as a person.
I feel like you also got to factor in the age too. Like, say if you're like, you're more willing to accept somebody who don't got all it together because you ain't got it all together when you're 18. Versus when you're like 32 and you got your career established, somebody your age is like still living with their mama. Yeah, you got to factor in age and where you are in your life too.
Age just matter.
And you don't have to have $1 million to be stable.
Yeah, you don't.
You can make $20, $25 an hour and be stable. That's why I said it's about the person and how they manage everything, and that comes down to, okay, now you can help me do the same thing with little or a lot. So that's just, I just want somebody who is stable. So it is a deal breaker to buy. And I don't say you can't lose your job. Like that's possible. And I'm in real estate. So my money it's very random too. So it's almost like cliche to be like, okay, my expectations are not, I can't give that stability, but that's kind of really why I wanted it from a man too. Because when my money is not stable, yours is, and we can keep flowing.
Keep on moving.
And I'm more willing to accept. So say I'm dating somebody my age. I'm 26. So if I'm dating somebody my age and they be like, yeah, I got student loan debt and I got a roommate, I'm like, okay, that's normal for your age. But if I'm dating somebody who's 40 and they say the same thing,
Right.
I'm gonna be like, okay, nah,
right.
but no.
Now, the
And I
age-
agree,
the age
like-
matter.
And I don't know if I would, like I said, I don't know if I would get into a relationship with somebody that's not financially stable, but would I casually date you and get to know you? Like, it wouldn't be like an automatic no, but I wouldn't like move in with you. I'm not going to jump into a relationship with you because I personally should not be your focus. I just,
You got bigger things to worry about.
yeah, there should be, you shouldn't want to be out here dating everybody and whatnot and spending your money on dates when you have a bigger picture that you need to focus on. Yeah, because yeah, I feel like
I had a man who took me on trips every time he got money. But then by the end of the week, he's like,
asking
I ain't got no money.
Like, that's
Like,
Yeah,
I
where
was
does your
like,
priorities
wait,
lie?
your
At this
priorities.
point, your priorities
your
are kind of
priorities
like
right.
not
So
there.
when I die, I want to marry somebody who I know is going to manage the money that I leave behind the right way. Like I
Right.
want to be able to trust my partner, and I
Right.
want him to be able to not go to the casino and blow my money. So that comes with being stable, like
Yeah, it
having
does.
Yeah, it do.
knowing how to manage and things. So yeah, I definitely like don't.
I get where you're coming
You
from
got a
now.
different job.
Because I'm
every
over here
week. I
talking
don't
about
want
ride
you.
or die. And then I'm like,
girl, I don't know
wait,
about that.
hold on.
She
changed the answer a little bit.
But once you got a
I would
husband and
casually-
he's
yeah.
held you down for this many years and he loses his job,
Yeah, that's a different
different.
story.
You ride or
Yeah.
die. Like you ride or die for your man because you know y'all got that.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, but in the dating stages, you can be picky. Like
Yeah,
you can
for sure.
set the
You should be
standard of
picky.
what you
Should be
want.
picky.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because my mom and dad, like I said, they've been married for 26 years, as long as I've been alive. And my dad, he was a police officer. My mom was a nurse. He ended up getting multiple sclerosis. I don't know if you guys know what that is, MS. And he couldn't work no more at the age of 35. That's very young. My mom had to pick up the slack. My dad was doing my hair. He was cooking. He ended up being the in-house parent when my mom was outside working.
Yeah.
So it just depends, like you said, when you are in a marriage, you do have to pick up some of the slack versus
Yeah.
when you are dating, you're allowed to be a little bit selfish.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah.
And
That's why I
picky.
said
Yeah.
I would casually date you, but like I wouldn't commit to that situation to where I can see that you're making personal
That's
growth for
literally
yourself.
putting
That's the
yourself
point of
in
dating,
quicksand.
Yeah, that's
to
the
find
point.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You say what?
That's literally putting yourself in quicksand. You be like, oh, I know you got all this shit going on, but
Men be sneaky.
I'ma
They
dive
hide
into
stuff. You don't know they. You
Right.
Like, dang, you
Yeah.
like, they got a lot of money, and then next thing you know, like, what is you doing? Your credit 400? Like, what are y'all doing?
400 credit is crazy.
Because they be capping because they think that's what's gonna get you.
It does.
Yeah.
They think it's gonna get your time.
Yeah.
But the
It just don't
reality,
last.
just wasting
Right.
time
the reality is though, did it get your time though?
or wasted my
I think-
time.
I think they got their
Yeah.
attention. They got
Atten-
attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were trying to get the attention, hoping they can make a play to keep that up.
Man.
Because you weren't gonna give them no time for that attention grabber.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
sure.
funny.
Mm-hmm.
This has been a great episode, y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
episode.
Thank you. It was
I love
good.
hearing all y'all different views because we, like,
Right.
you know, yeah.
Mhm.
Because you've been married, you never been married.
Mhm.
I've never been married,
7
but
year
I've been in a
relationship.
long-term relationship.
Yeah.
Been a
So
long time.
Yeah.
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 So
Nah.
yeah, it was nice hearing everybody's views, and then you're
Yeah, for
married.
sure.
You know, I know you single, so it's like, yeah.
It's true.
Attracts everybody.
Single and married. I mean,
That's
that's a
facts.
good combination
That is a
for
good
a
combination,
podcast.
yeah.
We try to bounce off each other. You know, 'cause maybe I
Yeah.
think a little too radical, or maybe he do. You know,
Mhm.
slow each other down.
For sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But again, we want to say we thank you all for joining the podcast. Y'all ain't have to come in here today, but y'all did. Y'all definitely shared some great statements, changed my perspectives on some stuff, refined my thoughts as well. So I appreciate y'all coming here.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you guys.
Thanks for
Great.
having
Great.
us.
Yeah,
I love what y'all are
100%.
doing.
And even outside of this, guys, like all of you are entrepreneurs. So
Mhm.
we need to get you guys back here individually and speak on what you guys have going on in your businesses and just
Yeah.
get that out there. So we
Yeah.
appreciate you guys for
Please.
spending your time here with us today.
Yeah, of
Mhm.
course.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. This has been Relate or Debate number 2.
Number
Appreciate
2.
That's a
y'all.
wrap.
Y'all tune in next time.
To whoever may need this nugget of encouragement, things will be alright, so quit your worrying. I get it, the odds seem stacked back against the wall, but even consider it such, no, you'll stand tall. Sat and watch from the sidelines one too many times. Wicked games to play, make me wanna lose my mind. Found solitude, knowing it'll be over soon. Ever need a boost, count on me for the 1-2. Trouble don't last when the tough get going. Baby, all we do is win, so show me my opponent.